welcome back to another episode. It's a beautiful afternoon. We have some cold wind, not really cold, but at least it's breezy, it's refreshing, and it's overcast. Oh guys, it feels like summer already in Namibia. It's extremely hot. I think yesterday it was around 37 degrees Celsius, which is close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But anyways, today we are doing another episode in the garden. The heat have affected the garden so much, and a lot of plants are struggling. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to care for your onions right from germination up to harvest. I'm only going to give you a few tips or talk to you about a few things, although there probably are a lot that I'm going to leave out. I'm going to talk about the few essential ones. The first ones we are starting with. So you are probably asking yourself, how do I get my onions to grow bigger? First thing you must ensure is that you have chosen the right variety. I think we are growing an F1 variety. Usually, our onion sets were Red Creole and Texas Grano. I tend to gravitate towards Texas Grano because it was the variety that I have grown first, and I know that for sure it's a bulbing onion, and that is one of the important things to ensure, to make sure that you are having a bulbing onion variety. If you choose bunching onions will never really grow big. They'll grow really small heads and then they will stop because they are not bulbing onions. The same way is if you chose shallots are a mixture of onions and garlics, so they never really grow to a bigger bulb. Here we are growing an F1 variety, like I already said. So if you look at some of our onions, you will see that the heads have grown. This one have flopped over, signaling that it's ready. So is the next one. But if you look at them, you see that their heads are quite big. They have some very good heads. So it's very important to choose the right variety. Also, planting while you are in season. And talking about planting while you're in season, we planted this crop a bit late because we moved here in April, and I think we only started the garden in the 2nd or 3rd week of April. We planted this from seed. They didn't germinate, and then we had to replant, so we were kind of late. This is why you are seeing that we are still having a bed with very stressed onions when the weather have changed on us and it have gotten drastically warm, and these are the results of planting late. So if circumstances allow, plant on time, or have start them in trays, and then when you are ready or when the season is upon you, you just transplant. The third thing would be to thin out your onions, and we are still at the same onions because they make a very good example. So again, when you look at our 2 onions here, there is 1, 2, 3, and 4 crop or plants. I don't know if I can remove this one. Okay, yeah, I can. So you see this one, nice, it's a good size. The one next to it, also a good size. And these ones were fine because they have pushed each other to the side. But do you see this? This one was in the middle of the 2 plants, and therefore it was suffocated, and it was generally outcompeted, and it didn't bulb up very well. Also, if we go ahead, you will see these ones. You will also see how many onions we have here, right? So there's the small one, all this so close together, and you can see, had we removed this one, and you can see this one have also flopped, so we may as well remove it. So had we removed this one, right, and then we leave these two probably would have sized up a little bit more, which they were not able to do because they were not thinned out. So it's very important to thin out your crop so that you don't have onions that are competing for nutrients. Onions generally have very shallow roots. Their roots don't go too deep, so they want enough food So if you are having them competing for food, then you are bound to end up with very small heads. Like I will, a lot of these heads are going to be generally small, and it's all my fault because we planted from seeds, we didn't thin that well. So this is what we are getting. The fourth thing would be to feed your plants, and this is something that I think I've spoken about already. Onions generally want they are heavy feeders, so they do want enough manure. When you have a soil like mine, the soil that I started off with, don't be fooled by the compost that is on top here. The soil that I started off with is very hard, very compact, doesn't have enough nutrients, and I can attribute some of my smaller heads to that. Although I have tried by all means to come in, fertilize, add compost, and add some manure, but generally you want your onions to be in a very good nutrient soil. So have some good aged compost, add some animal manures. Rabbit manure or chicken manure is also one of those that are very good in nitrogen, so they very good for onions. So add them to your onion bed so that they can increase the size of your bulbs. The good thing with onions is that although we have these smaller heads, they are still edible. You can still eat the leaves, which still it still makes your food taste good. So not to ponder much on it. However, every farmer generally want a very good sized bulb, and because this is why you're farming, right? You wouldn't want to farm and not end up with a good yield or a good crop. The other thing is to water your plants. Like we said, they have shallow roots, so they don't really do well with taking up water. If your bed is not watered well enough, and especially for us who are in very, very hot climate, you might end up with a plot or land with onions that are very stressed, that are not doing so well, simply because they don't have enough water. So like these ones, we have kept it generally well watered, although it have gotten just quite too warm, such that we even ended up netting it. But we are losing some and we are gaining some. Like you can see, we are having very good bulbs, and generally this is what you want to end up with. The other bonus tip is to cover your plants. Like I said, Namibia is very hot, so this net we came and then we covered with a shade net. This shade net is a 40%, and because our sun was just so brutal, we ended up doubling it, just to try and ensure that. Let me just also put the one in the middle so that you can see. However, it looked just like the other greenhouse that we did for the onions. It probably won't look proper right now, especially because it didn't really put it on nicely, but this is how it stays during the day. Because the sun is so harsh, it helps a bit, but I have noticed that a lot of my onions are really stressed, and a lot of them have flopped and are nearing the harvest, and this is why I'm going to harvest some of those today and prepare them for curing. Other than that, we are really happy to still have some harvest. This is our first year gardening here. Like I said, I thought I would be coming to a good soiled land or piece of land, but I came to a land that is having very hard compact soil. So I'm just very happy to have any sort of harvest at all from this land. How do you want to space out your onions? You want to give your onions enough space. Like I said, you might want to thin them out, but just to plant, if you're not planning to thin them out, you you want to have them 6 to 10 centimeters apart, or 3 to 4 inches apart, so that they are not competing and so that they have enough space to bulb out. If you have any more questions about growing onions, you are more than welcome to post them in the comments below, and then I'll be able to answer them for you. Other than that, thank you so much for keeping up with us, and just for sharing this journey with us. You may stick around and watch me harvest some of the onions that are ready. Other than that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you, and it's a wrap for today. Bye. I love you. Hi, Mia. How are you? Are you good? Are you taking a walk? Forget flowers. Who doesn't want a bouquet of perfectly grown organic onions?